Grace and peace multiply to you and yours in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High God, the Savior to those that keep His commandments. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day today, and it is the Sabbath day. So, happy Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom, Feliz Sabado. To all my brothers and sisters out there in the struggle, take it one day at a time, stay strong, stay prayed up, and enjoy continued blessings that the Lord has for us. So, this is part 3 to Power of the Tongue and Unruly Evil. Now, I last showed you a couple of biblical examples of people speaking wickedness with their tongue and the consequences that came thereafter. Because the Lord don't like talebearers, the Lord don't like liars, and that tongue is a powerful thing to tame. And many people, even to this day right now, still speaking ill will with their tongues. And what does the book say? That about sin, if it's a lie, or well, if it's sin, is sin. So sin bringing forth death. And I can read you that in several places. So, without further ado, open up your Bibles to Ephesians chapter 4, New Testament. Ephesians chapter 4, beginning with verse 29. Ephesians 4 and verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Whoa. And once again, this is that tongue that we have to try so hard to bridle. It says, let no corrupt communication. That's why it's important for us to speak good things. Let me read that again. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to you to the use of edifying. That's what we all can learn from each other. Edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Verse 30, and grieve not the Holy Spirit of God, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. You got to get it out your heart. You got to get it out your mind. You got to get it out your mouth. Bottom line. Now, let's go to the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, beginning with verse 1. Verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. Whoa. Say, be more ready to hear than the sacrifice of fools. What are your sacrifices? Your prayers. Don't the book say the prayer of a sinner is an abomination? So if you got evil in your heart, you're not abiding by God's laws. You're not abiding by the commandments. If you slandering your brother or your neighbor, you got wickedness in your heart. Is the Lord hearing your prayers? Let me read that again. Say, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. They think they doing a good thing. Ain't that something? Could that be reprobate? Verse 2, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Whoa. We know a lot of people, they can't stop talking. You leave the room, somebody talking, you come back, that same person still talking. Man, we got a lot of people that love to hear themselves talk. Can't shut up. It says, let thy words be few. Verse 3, for a dream cometh through the multitude of busyness, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words. Ain't that clear? I'm going to read on. Verse 4, when thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow than thou shouldest vow and not pay. That's one of the reasons why the Lord says, swear not. Because people say, I swear to God. What you swear? Because if you swear to God and you don't pay, you're going to have to pay God. And you're going to be on the wrong side of God when he pays you. Verse 6, suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. See how important it is to bridle that tongue? Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. Neither say thou before the angel that it was in error. Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice and destroy the work of thy hands? Because the angels have specific jobs. They're not going to be merciful. That's why it behooves me how you got all these churches nowadays. They're saying, oh, the Holy Ghost just spoke to me. Oh, I just seen the Holy Ghost. But all the examples in the Bible, maybe except for one, when the angel appeared to somebody, fear fell on them. You know why? Because when you see an angel in his full strength, it's not no nice, pleasant, cuddly thing. The real description or the real appearance of an angel is something real scary. And if it speaks to you, it's going to be even more scary. You know what I'm saying? The Lord don't come to us like that anymore. We have to get it through his word. And see, that's another thing. We emotional people. The angels ain't emotional. They gonna do their job and they gonna do it well. You know, one angel killed 185,000 people with the Assyrian captivity. Man, that's why it's important for us to fear God. In 1 John chapter 5, it says that the fear of the Lord, it says, fear God and keep his commandments, for his commandments are not grievous. That means they're not hard to keep. But you better fear him because he's the only one that can put you in the grave and wake you back up and put you in the lake of fire. It's just that simple. And if he sends the angel to you, you got to fear the angel because the angel is the worker of the Lord. Matter of fact, it's scripture that say that an angel stands in the presence of the Lord. That is part of the protocol. From the Father to the Son to the angel give it to man, and man give it to the rest of the world. But if you are disobedient, there's going to be some consequences. Now, go to New Testament, Matthew chapter 6. Matthew 6, 1 verse 8, verse 7. It says, but when ye pray, use not vain repetition. You know, I've been seeing that all my life. Pastors and preachers and so-called evangelists using vain repetitions. Let me read that again. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Then the book just say, let thy words be few. Proverbs 10. A lot of people say they love the Lord, they obey the Lord, but when you look at their actions, they're not doing nothing that the Lord say do. They come up with their own righteousness out of their own mind, or something that there's something that they done heard, or something that they've been taught, which is in error. Proverbs 10, verse 18. He that hideth hatred with his lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. Boom. You see how the Lord don't like talebearers? He don't like people that talk evil about other people. But we got that going on every day, 24/7. It said, he that uttereth a slander is a fool. That's deep. 2 Samuel chapter 1. 2 Samuel chapter 1, beginning with verse 1. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent, and earth was upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obeisance. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. Verse 5, And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and called unto me, and I answered him, Here I am, here am I. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish has come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So Saul wanted him to kill him, and so this man is saying, right? He wanted to finish him off. He was tired of suffering, right? Verse 10, So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head and the bracelet that was on his arm, and have brought them hither unto my Lord. Now this man is saying, Hey, I killed Saul. I helped him go ahead and finish dying. You know, he thought that he was bringing David some good news because David was fleeing from Saul. But David had a chance to kill Saul because he was the Lord's anointed. He got a chance to kill him twice, but he didn't. He had mercy on him. Verse 11, Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until even, for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thy hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David saying, Look, I had a chance to kill Saul twice. And I didn't, because I knew he was the Lord's anointed. How was you not afraid to kill him? Because David knows that there's consequences behind that. Verse 14, verse 15, And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. Now, I'm going to show you something. Now, go backwards to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 31, the last chapter in 1 Samuel. Beginning with verse 1. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan, and Abinadab, and Malchishua, Saul's sons. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. So who killed Saul? He killed himself. But over in 2 Samuel, this Amalekite trying to boast with his mouth that he killed Saul. Lies. Verse 5. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Who killed Saul? Saul killed himself. But this man lying, saying that he killed Saul. And what happened to this man? He got killed too, for lying. Deuteronomy chapter 8. In Proverbs chapter 6 it says, these 6 things that the Lord hate, a proud look and a lying tongue. And a false witness that speaketh lies. Got a lot of them in the world, don't we? Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 19 and 20. Verse 19. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, that ye shall surely perish. Ain't that in the commandments? Not to serve any other gods but him. And he's saying right here in Deuteronomy 8, if you serve other gods and turn from the Lord, you gonna surely die. That's serious business. People don't take this thing seriously. They think it's a game. Verse 20, as the nations which the Lord destroyed before your face, so shall ye perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. A lot of people got a hard problem with that word obey. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Now, go back a few chapters, Deuteronomy chapter 4. One verse here, verse 26. It says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. That's a precept. First Samuel 15. How much time I got? 1 Samuel 15. First Samuel 15, and one verse here, verse 23. Verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Don't we got a lot of stubborn people in the world? Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he also rejected thee from being king. Now this is spoken to Saul by Samuel the prophet. What ended up happening to Saul? The Lord let an evil spirit come on him and vex him so tough that he killed himself. He ended up killing himself. I just read it. Number 16. Number 16 and one more after this. This will be last. Number 16 first. Number 16, this is talking about the rebellion. And I just read what rebellion is to the Lord. The rebellion of Korah. Verses 1 through 6, and I'm going to skip to 20. Verse 1. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. That means they gathered some people with them to go along with them, right? Verse 2, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. They don't know. They think they gathered themselves against Moses and Aaron, but who they gathered themselves against? The Lord. Verse 3, and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. Whoa, hold up. The whole congregation ain't holy. What did they do when they 40 days after they came out of Egyptian captivity and slavery? They was worshiping a molten calf. They ain't all holy. But anyway, let me read that again. You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. Verse 6, this do take your census, Korah and all his company. Now skip down to verse 20. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Uh-oh. He said, stand aside, Moses. I'm going to wipe them all out. Because they were stiff-necked and rebellious people. I can show you another place where the Lord say, get your people, Moses. But anyway, verse 21, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, talking about Korah, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram, saying, get away from them. Verse 25, and Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out. They had some sense, and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me. Verse 30, but if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth, and swallow them up, with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. I'm going to keep reading. Verse 31, and it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertain unto Korah, and all their goods. So it came to pass that the earth swallowed them up, every one of them. Hold on, let me keep reading though. That was verse 32. Verse 33, they and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. Whoa. See how Israel can be? See how people can be, period? They don't want to listen. They want to come with their own righteousness. They want to be rebellious. They want to be like everybody else. Verse 34, and all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. So they were scared. And you would be too if you seen this happen right before your eyes. Verse 35, and there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, and scatter out the fire yonder, for they are hallowed. Skip to verse 41. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. The next day! Now they had seen all this happen with Korah and them. But the very next day, they still murmured against Moses and Aaron. Reprobate concerning the faith. Let me read that again. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of the Lord. Ain't that something? After they seen all this happen. I'm going to read on. Verse 42. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moses and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. Whoa, we tell them again. Say, stand aside, Moses. I'm about to take them out and start all over with you. Because you only one seem to be obedient to me. But anyway, and they fell upon their faces. And Moses said unto Aaron, Take a censer and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath going out from the Lord. The plague is begun. And Aaron took as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on incense and made an atonement for the people, and he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Because the Lord was wiping them out. Sent an angel there to start taking them out because they were hard-headed, basically. After they seen all this stuff happen. But, let me see. Verse 49. Now that they died in the plague, now they that died in the plague were 14,700, beside them that died about the matter of Korah. That's a lot of people. You know, it's a lot of people dying still to this day for their disobedience to God. They just don't know it. We are in our trials now. That's why we got to walk circumspectly. We got to walk right. We got to speak good things out of our mouths, because that tongue will get you caught up. And I don't mean caught up in the sky. I mean caught up in the lie. Especially if you let lies roll off your tongue. And what's the end result of that? You will die before your time. Go to the New Testament, and this will be last. James chapter 3. James chapter 3. Beginning with verse 1. Verse 1. My brethren, be not many masters. Got a lot of that going on today too, don't we? Spiritual hoarding. But that's another lesson. Knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same as a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. Behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Now, as big as a horse is, we put a little small thing in his mouth to control that big old horse, right? But peep game. Verse 4. Behold also the ships, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm. That's right. Whithersoever the governor listeth, even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. Tongue about the smallest thing on your body. But it says, behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. Verse 6, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. What is iniquity? Sin. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. Now, I'm going to skip down for sake of time. Skip down to verse 8. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. That's right. So you got to try your best to bridle that tongue. And when you try your best, the Lord sees what you're doing. The Lord knows your thoughts. He knows if you're trying to bridle your tongue or not. But if you're just talking all the time, especially when you're talking lies. Lord counting that against you. And it's going to be counted against you in the day of judgment. But I'm going to keep reading, but I'm going to skip down. Verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. Verse 14. But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. So that's the end of it. The power of the tongue and unruly evil. I hope somebody got some understanding, and I thank you for your time.